of the elements and their proportion, meaning their percentage, which leads to a problem in the charges, which leads to a problem in the frequencies, which leads to a problem in the electromagnetic field, which leads a problem to the life of the DNA. If the DNA is not doing its job, what is the job of the DNA? The job of the DNA is to reproduce another DNA, so that that this dies, this will take over, make sure that there is propagation of life, and the other one is to produce proteins. What are proteins? Proteins are the workers in our body that do everything that is needed. We need to breathe, we need proteins. We need to digest food, we need proteins. We need to build bones so that we don't get osteoporotic, we need proteins. So this is the chain of events that leads to some abnormal elements in different proportions, abnormal charges, abnormal frequencies, abnormal electromagnetic fields, abnormal DNA. When you have an abnormal DNA, what happens with the son or the daughter DNA becomes also abnormal. What happened with the proteins? Abnormal. So now we have a problem. This is the starting of abnormalities. That's the chain reaction. So if we come here and we give, this will lead to abnormality. Abnormality will become severe enough will become precancerous. Precancerous will become cancer. Cancer will lead to death, if not corrected. So, here we come with the cancer, which is a cancer mass, and we say we need to attack. How do we attack the cancer? We give the chemo, we give the radiation, we give the surgery, and we give some other things that they are doing. But historically, these are the most important. Well, are we doing a favor to the patient if we are destroying that cancer with chemo? Somebody might say, well, if I take care of this, maybe surgically removing it, and also giving chemotherapy and radiation to sterilize any cancer cells, I am doing the patient a favor, maybe. But there are two problems in this approach, big problems. Number one, what happened with this? Does the chemotherapy change the element problem? Does it change the charges? No, because if you don't change this, this is going to stay the same. All this abnormalities up to here is going to be the same. That's problem number one. So although it appears in the first few months that the patient has done an improvement, because let us say we give this, we wait 3 months, we do a CAT scan, an MRI, a PET scan, we do a bone scan, we do cancer markers, we do blood test, we do a physical examination. All these parameters improve in 3 months. What do we tell the patient? Congratulations. You have done a great job. There is a problem there. Because we are just 3 months after. What happened after those 3 months? The sad news is this chain of events is taking place continuously, day and night, day and night, day and night. nothing has stopped it, it will produce more and more cancer cells. What does the doctor say? We need to go, this was the first round, we need to go on the second round. The problem is, in the first round there is a 70% response. On the second round there is a 30% response. We do the second round, there is a 30% response, shrinkage, but still there. I'm sorry, sir, you responded partially. Cancer continues, we need a third round. Oh, by the way, in this round, to come here, you have to change chemo. If you use the same chemo, there is almost no response. So they change the protocol. Or if they use the same chemo, they use more massive amounts. When we come to this one, it's probably 5 to 10%. And when we say response, we're not saying that everything is cleared, meaning some form of response. Shrinkage is a response. Not that the person has taken care of all the cancer. So it's a term that is misleading. Any response is a response. You improve 5%, that is a response. So response doesn't mean 100% improvement. Now, the approach that we said has two problems. One problem is the cause. This is the cause. Has not been addressed. But there is a second problem that is more subtle. What's the second problem? The second problem is that this chemo itself is foreign to the body. The chemo that they give you or give the patient is not one of the elements of the periodic chart of the elements. It's an unnatural foreign invader. And the body sees it exactly as a UFO, as an unidentified flying object in the body. So it goes against it and attacks it. And now we have another problem. The problem is we have the chemo here that is not supposed to be. What does the chemo do? It has its own charge. It messes up the charges. This is already a patient who is already messed up enough to produce cancer cells on its own. Now we're adding the chemo and we're unbalancing further the charges. We are ruining the frequency further away. He was 4 units, this is normal. Let's say that this is normal. This is N, normal. Here is health. This patient has walked first step to here, abnormality, walked away to a severe abnormality, and walked away here to become cancer. When you add the chemo, this is what you're doing. You're pushing him further away to a more malignant form of cancer. The problem is this more malignant form of cancer is not going to appear the day you give the chemo. It's going to appear in the 18 months following the chemo. So you are mortgaging the health of the individual in the name of a today improvement or in these 3 months improvement. It's not a good approach, is it? So 2 problems are happening with what we call the conventional approach. One is you are not addressing the cause, so the problem continues. And 2, you are tipping the patient further away from normal. And now the cancer is even worse. For what? For a very brief period of 3 months, showing an improvement on CAT scan, MRI. So what is a good approach? If you want to do chemo, radiation, and surgery, it's your decision. I'm not here to tell you what you should do or not do. It's not my decision. Your body is yours. You have to take care of it. But the issue is, when you take care of your body and make a decision, how does the mind make a decision? By having the right input and the right information. If you do not have the right information, your decision might not be the best decision. Might be a decision based on partial ignorance. Ignorance of the facts could lead to a bad decision. That's why when this happens and you want to do chemo, it's up to you. But the good approach would be, Doc, what can we do to take care of this? If we can correct this here, the charges will correct. How do you know that the charges have corrected? You measure what they call the pH. pH. The pH is a measure of the charges that are positive and negative in the body, especially the hydrogen, which are positive ions. What does ions mean? Ions mean an element of the table or the chart of the elements, but with a charge on it. It could be a positive charge or it could be a negative charge. So the ion is just a charged element. The hydrogen ion is H+. And then you have the hydroxyl. Hyd is the hydrogen, oxyl is the oxygen. Hydroxyl, OH, is negative. By the way, if you combine this plus this, what does it give you? Anybody? Sorry? H2O, water. Exactly. What a marvelous thing that is in nature, that water is the most important molecule in the universe. The splitting of water in H+ and OH- is what determines, these two determines the pH. If you have a lot of H+, you are sick, you are acidic, your minerals are being lost in the bones, you develop osteopenia, and when it is severe, is osteoporosis. We are created to have more of the OH- in our body than the H+. Our pH should be about 7.4, but is acceptable to be between 7.35 to 7.45, with an ideal of 7.4. If we sit on that 7.4, we are normal. Now, a good question is this. Can a person have a pH of 7.4 and still have a cancer? The answer is yes. There are a lot of people out there that misinterpret this pH, and they say, if you are alkaline, there is no way to have a cancer. It is true in the majority of cases, but it is not always true. An example, you could take one of those machines that take the water, splits it in H+, OH-, throw the H+ in the sink, which is the acidic part, and take in the body OH-, and you can make a person alkaline in very short time. Does that mean that the person is now okay? Because if you go to measure the pH of such a person, you will find it 7.4. But it doesn't mean anything. You have cheated the pH. This is cheating to show a pH that is normal, just as a facade, an appearance. But inside the body, the problem, which is the elements and their proportion, has not been addressed. So again, we go to basics. What is the cause? The initial cause is that the elements are not present in the right proportion in the body. What can we do to make the elements be present and in the right proportion? That's the subject of tonight. It's a DNA 136. How does it do that? How does the DNA correct this? Research has gone for many years into chemistry, biochemistry, physiology, to look into all the elements in the table of the elements and isolate how much of the carbon we need in our body, X. How much of the oxygen we need in our body, dot. How much of this? And they went on and on and on and on for all the minerals, the trace elements, and all the elements in the body. Once that has been decided upon and the range has been classified, then the entire gamma from A to Z of all these elements have been put together in the right proportion, along with some other things. What are the other things? You know, the body, when taking these elements with the right charge and frequency, can pretty much make 99% of what it needs, except that 1%. For example, essential sugars we cannot make. Essential fatty acids. The word essential means we are not able to. In this system, in this condition, 2013, we cannot. This will ever change? I don't know. But at this time, at this point in history, human being cannot manufacture, even if it's given all the elements, cannot build that house, which is essential sugars, essential fatty acids, and then certain essential substances like certain neurotransmitters that has to be provided to the body. The amino acids which compose the proteins, there are about 20 of them. But not all of them we can manufacture. Some of them, even the amino acid, which are some of the most important compounds in the human body, are called essential amino acid because we cannot produce them. So those have to be ingested. So in this formula, the essential substances that we cannot produce have been introduced along with the elements. When a person takes this DNA 136, little by little, the body is now adjusting the charge from its place of abnormality back toward normal. The charge. If the charge is adjusted, the frequencies occurring in the different tissues, cells, compounds, organs, systems are being adjusted. If the frequencies are being adjusted, the electromagnetic field. What is an electromagnetic field? Electro means electricity. You know, electricity is the passage of electrons in a filament in the space. Whenever electrons are thrown in the space, like in a wire, electrical wire, or in the space, the moving of electrons is electricity. When electricity is passing, it creates around it a field that is an electrical field. In fact, some electrical fields, if it's a very high voltage, you will see the town putting something around it that people do not approach, because electrical field can be so powerful that it can harm the human being even from many feet of distance. Okay? So electrical field, that's the E. Electromagnetic, what is a magnet? A magnet is a structure that has opposing charges on the opposing sides. One plus on one side and one negative on one side. So this is a structure, it has two surfaces. On this side is positive, this other side is negative. So you have electrical field from electricity, and you have a magnetic field due to the charges. The combination of a magnetic field and electric field creates an electromagnetic field. If you have corrected the elements, corrected the charges, corrected the frequencies, your electromagnetic fields will be correct. That is a key player in the health of the human being. Many doctors, when they go to the university, up until today, we are in 2013, how much do they study about electromagnetic field? Zero. All what the doctors study is they study chemistry, biochemistry, physiology, how the body functions, anatomy, the structures. They study diseases, how to diagnose diseases, how to read an MRI, how to read a CAT scan, how to prescribe a medication, how to prescribe this, how to prescribe that, how to take care of an appendicitis in the hospital, etc., which is wonderful. I mean, we have to acknowledge the good that medicine has brought in many cases. But when it comes to studying the elements and the charges and the frequencies, this is physics. People who go to study physics study charges and electromagnetic fields. So you got the doctors on one end who are studying how to use medications, how to diagnose conditions. It's good to diagnose condition. You want to know what is the problem you have. But you have physicists who know about charges but know nothing about the human body. So there is discommunication between the different parts of knowledge. So you need to take all the elements of knowledge and put them together to find a solution. So the solution lies in physics, in chemistry, in biology, in anatomy, in electricity, in magnetic field, everything. Put all together. Knowledge is knowledge. It's humans that divided knowledge in its parts. No? Knowledge is knowledge. We divided it. We make a department of biology, a department of chemistry. They don't speak with each other. See? The doctor that sees the ears says, but doc, I have a problem here. Oh, you have to go to a chest doctor, a pulmonologist. Oh, my back hurt. Oh, you have to go to an orthopedic. But the orthopedic doesn't know about the eyes, and the eye doctor doesn't know about the throat, and the throat doctor doesn't know about the kidneys, and so on and so forth. You can go on and on and on in circles and never finish. So, once you correct that electromagnetic field, you're correcting the DNA. The DNA is the most detailed and deep structure that we know about in this day and age. Obviously, there is something behind the DNA. Science hasn't yet discovered. But today, we can say that the repository of information, the computer chip, the operating system of a computer, if we are a computer, is our DNA. Now we have different programs. We have the program kidney. What does the program kidney? That's the software. It tells the body to clear the blood, produce urine. We have the program lungs, takes the oxygen, throws out the CO2. And so we have the program heart, beating. These are softwares. But this is the main operating system. If we correct this, then this is correct, and this is correct, There is no more abnormality, there is normal tissue and normal cells. So the correction starts here. How much we should take of this DNA136? There is no exact science to tell you take 375 minutes. No, it doesn't work this way. We're not that sophisticated. You know, we would be sitting in a tertiary care sophisticated lab at university, and we need to examine each person for about 3 months and study everything about this person, and then come with a result. You need to do exactly that amount. But we don't need that. That would cost millions of dollars per person to know, but we don't need that. What we need is to have a rough estimate. If a person has no disease, no known disease, let us put it no known disease, because nobody has no disease really. Even the baby who is born is already starting with a problem. But a person has no known disease. 1 scoop is for maintenance. Why? What are we maintaining? We're maintaining this chain of reaction, because sad to say, our food today is not the food that our ancestors at the time of Abraham used to eat. The milk and the cheese that Abraham offered to the 3 visitors was wonderful. But we can't find that milk anymore. The bread that they cooked, that Sarah cooked, I wish we had her today. But we can't. So we need 1 scoop no matter what. It is a shame that this product is available and one doesn't take advantage of it, because it's really so important. 1 scoop a day is a maintenance to keep going. If you come to know about any condition, going from sore throat to chest pain to back pain, knee pain, headaches, migraines, low blood pressure, high blood pressure, everything mild. You go to the doctor and says, you know, your blood sugar is not very high. I cannot say you're diabetic, but you're a pre-diabetic. You are going to become a diabetic. Pre-diabetic is a condition, but is mild. Okay? Any condition that is known, now you have a known entity. So you have to move from 1 scoop to 2 scoops. 2 scoops a day. How do you take them? 2 scoops once a day is fine. You want to do a better job? You take 1 scoop twice a day, if you can. You're in a hurry, you take them. It's a busy day, you have so much going on, you cannot be bothered. Take them. When you wake up, 2 scoops, it's done. If you have the opportunity, 1 scoop twice a day. Why 1 scoop twice a day is better than 2 scoops once a day? What's the logic? That's the logic. Our body doesn't work in 1 second and stays dormant for the 23 hours. Our body is continuously working. If you feed the body 1 scoop in the morning, it will be absorbed and it goes to the tissue. Then 12 hours later, you give another scoop. The body is happy. There is continuous movement of good elements in the right proportion. Let us say that you go to the doctor and the doctor said, you know, I found you have diabetes. Or, you know what, you have high blood pressure, sir. I need to put you on some medication for high blood pressure. I'm going to put you on Norvasc, 5 milligrams once a day. Gives you the prescription, you go to the pharmacist, you take the pill, you say, God, please help me, because I have this blood pressure. And the doctor said, hey, if you don't take care of your blood pressure, your heart can start to weaken. And if your blood pressure goes too high, one of the arteries in the brain might explode and leak blood, and you go to the hospital and they diagnose a stroke or hemorrhagic stroke, and so on and so forth. Now, and if the heart has to pump against so much of a high pressure, it weakens. And one of these days, it might give you a myocardial infarction, called by people heart attack. Or the rhythm goes and you start having arrhythmias.